This is mostly a test. Testing. Testing. Wow, that's a long tag.
When it came time to take things to the next level, I knew that I had to make a website, and Wix was perfect for that. I'm Josh Harmon. I'm a musician.
Okay.
Okay, if I want to check the videos, it can be heard.
Okay.
Interesting that the audio quality is pretty bad. So, noise gate. Testing. It's weird that it's so bad. Testing. Testing. Hello. All right. Okay. Wow. It's really. Hello. This will be better for like speaking, but this is very great for anything else. This will be better for like speaking, but this is very great for Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I'll try to play something and see how it goes. Okay. I'll try to play something and see how it goes. Okay. Gosh. I'll try to play something and see how it goes. Okay. Any lower? Lag spike's gonna kill me. Yep. Going faster. I went fucking or drone. That's so funny. It's weird. Do it this way. Over here. Still at technically 15 hatch.
You're flat broke, mate. Get some more minerals. Where are the minerals? I was told there would be minerals.
Rallying them. And sit idle first. Basic. Squeeze. Or I guess. Up.
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject.
Free queen. First, get this down.
It's the fight you've all been waiting for.
Essentially.
We must place that on creep. Well, you do. I'll just watch. Where are the minerals? Your forces are taking damage.
That's just like ink.
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject. Your Zerg have evolved and started a progressive folk band?
Yeah.
Build that fleshy mass of terror somewhere else.
Oh, did I just cut myself?
God save your gracious
Okay.
Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Thought you could get away with skipping.
Ah, shit.
Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. We must place that on creep. Well, you do. I'll just watch.
Good time. Seconds. Nope. But like 6 minutes. Part of. Good queens.
You must place that on creep.
And then it's.
The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair.
Moving.
Build that fleshy mass of terror
No,
somewhere
don't
else.
do that.
Out of mineral. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. You're engaging the opponent.
Okay. Uh, $6:45 on 15 minutes. 15 seconds. Internet.
You don't have enough gas. Consider expanding. If you must build that pile of pulsating dread, at least put it on some creep.
Mechanics.
Try building that monstrosity else. God save your gracious queen. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here.
Should be maxed.
Insufficient Vespene gas. We must place that on creep. Well, you
And,
I'll just watch.
Oh. Okay.
Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Zerg do not thrive without their nutritious creep. geyser for that?
Oh, there they are. Enough.
Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific
Wait, how?
biomass here. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. If you must build that pile of pulsating dread, your army has encountered the enemy.
Go.
Out of minerals, idle workers are so untidy. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here.
Where? It's showing.
Mineral field
Five.
depleted.
Here.
Insufficient Vespene gas. Mineral field depleted.
Oh.
Try building that monstrosity elsewhere.
Pops.
Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Don't you need a geyser for that? Gas is really useful, so why don't you have any? Do you think that upgrading that swarm of death beasts was wise?
That's fine.
Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. We must place that on Crete. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. They're trampling all over your beautiful garden of creep tumors. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you.
Actually, I just.
The other guys are being destroyed. is under attack. We're all gonna die. Your creep tumors are under attack. Don't just stand there, shoot back.
Let's see.
Massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery. Mutation complete. Wow, don't just stand there, shoot back! You're engaging the opponent.
Give upgrades. Is it?
Your creep tumors are under attack. Build that fleshy mass of terror somewhere else. The enemy is jealous of your lovely creep tumors.
It's very cinematic.
Mineral field depleted. You're engaging the opponent. The other guy is attacking you for your beautiful garden of creep tumors. Build that fleshy mass of terror somewhere else. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. The enemy is jealous of your lovely creep tumors. You don't have enough gas. Consider expanding.
Oh, and you got
Insufficient Vespi. Your army has encountered the enemy. I remember when this was... Now look.
system.
The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass out of minerals. Idle workers are so high. You are fresh out of minerals at that base.
Attacking.
Gas is really useful, so why don't you have it?
So fun. Trying to rebuild.
You're engaging the opponent. Mineral field depleted. Mutation complete. Build that fleshy mass of terror somewhere else.
Oh my god.
I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it.
Okay? The proper process in this circumstance is not to fire people. Let's say technological efficiency has made it so that you can get the same work done a decade prior in literally 2 hours, okay? In a decade ago, you could get the same workload done.
Oh yeah, did Overlord first.
Do we deserve this? Is that what America deserves for its crimes? I mean, I don't think anybody deserves this. I think, ironically enough, these are the same crimes that America was committing around the globe, but now is committing to itself. In terms of the shock doctrine, in terms of, forced austerity measures and crippling the economy at the behest of private capital. We're doing that, but now domestically. Things that we have done globally, which I think are completely unacceptable, completely inappropriate, has caused a lot of pain. We are doing to ourselves. We've been doing to ourselves these things as well, but I think we're doing this to ourselves even harder now than ever before, and in a more aggressive rate than ever before. Have you seen this community note about one of the hostages? What? Okay, I don't want to look at that. That seems insane. Okay, I don't.
With Framer, the things you design become real. Framer feels like a design tool, but it ships fast, modern websites. You can start from scratch, import from Figma, or choose from thousands of free and premium templates. Framer's easy to learn. There's frames, text, and stacks. Combine them however you want, add whatever you want, and make everything responsive. Then the only thing left to do is hit publish. That's Framer.
Free Tax USA, where federal filing is always free with no games or pricing gimmicks. Because choosing your tax software shouldn't be a guessing game. Companies may claim their federal tax filing is free, that is, minus the hidden fees, high prices, unwanted add-ons. No way. And when you're ready to submit, it's not really free. Not this year, my friend. You have found Free Tax USA. Say goodbye to forced upgrades and unexpected fees. The only trick up our sleeve is free federal tax filing for everyone. Plus, filing a state return is less than $20. Go to freetaxusa.com.
That seems like a crazy community note. All right. I work for the federal government. Everyone is scared. We all about to be shit canned. We took government jobs for less pay, for job security and pensions. Now none of that matters. Yeah. This was the executive order that Trump signed before the. Oh yeah. This is the new incredible executive order from Donald Trump. You know, saving the American population. President Trump signs an executive order halting federal funding for schools that mandate the COVID vaccine. It's his COVID vaccine. He took credit for it. Okay. He talked about Operation Warp Speed. And now he's like, oh, if you take it, if you make it mandatory, yeah, you don't get federal funding. What an insane set of circumstances, dude. I mean, what is happening, dude? Incredible stuff. Constantly in this weird dynamic where on the one hand, COVID vaccine, and it was awesome, and it was so sick, and I saved so many lives. Biden could never. And then simultaneously being like, and yeah, if you make the vaccine mandatory, then, if you actually get people to use the vaccine that I made, by the way, with my own 2 hands, we're going to take funding away from you. Crazy how we haven't even been a month into Burger Reich. I know. They're intentionally tanking the economy. I think they are just following through on the libertarian dreams that many wealthy people have fantasized about, purposely dismantling the federal regulatory state piece by piece at the behest of tech giants and CEOs and the executive class so that they can make more profits off of all of these previously government-controlled sectors. And also simultaneously destroy the regulatory state. Liz Franzak thinks they want to do a new Bretton Woods, but in Florida. Yeah. I think that could be the case. it's very difficult. I do interviews all the time lately, and one of the questions always is like, well, what do we do here? Like, what do you think is going to happen? And I don't know. I don't know where to go from here right now. I just, all I know is that,
Wow, you mind
all I know is that we need better leadership, and it's very difficult to figure out like exactly what's going to happen, exactly how competent they are. Here, by the way, speaking of which, the prosecutor who blew the whistle on the Adams deal resigned from the DOJ. She was a Federalist Society member and a Scalia clerk. Okay, so there's this this side of the process too. Okay, which is crazy. Like, you got Reagan judges on the federal courts stopping Trump's like insanely unconstitutional agenda. You got Federalist Society judges being like, this is so corrupt that I can't deal with this. Like, you're ruining an active investigation into obvious corruption
You're engaging
of the highest order by doing more corruption, by doing more quid pro quo. I wish instead of completely wiping out federal agencies, they just move the headquarters to a different regions of the country. Can just one person go to jail? No. I mean, no, not at all. You can't. You can't do that. You can't send anybody to jail. God forbid you send even a Democrat to jail. That means a powerful person in a position of that means a person in a position of power can ever get legal scrutiny, and that's a dangerous precedent to set. Okay, we can't do that. God forbid we do that. We cannot do that. I mean, that's it's just really, it's a dire situation, dude. What is most demoralizing is that my normie friends are like, yeah, man, that's awful. Anyway, these are college-educated resistance libs. Yeah, that Federal Society judge, man, did she think this whole time their legal framework was at all legit? No, they are just opportunists. They want to advance their careers. Some of them are naturally conservative. Some of them basically lean into that kind of politics. But it doesn't really matter. Like, what's the difference between Asmongold and Matt Walsh? Asmongold doesn't fully believe the things that he's saying, but he knows that it's like getting him a lot of views, so he's saying them, right? Matt Walsh does believe the shit that he's saying. Bro, where in the in LA can you buy wintergreen Zins? Nowhere. I'm still holding on to I just every time I'm like running out of flavored Zins, someone just sends me a care package. How long till riots? I doubt that riots will happen in this country. We are very sedated. We are a servile people. We fancy ourselves to be revolutionary people, but we are very docile people, I think. American, the revolutionary stint of America was purposely gutted, partially as a direct consequence of our neoliberal dominance, post-Cold War, post-World War II, so much prosperity, so much dominance, and Americans have designed a system that shelters them from, that keeps it together. I mean, literally look at Afghanistan. Look at Americans still maintain the position that they're anti-war, not recognizing that war is a constant part of American existence. It's just that we've basically outsourced it. This was amazing, by the way. This is the new Secretary of Health and Human Services, ladies and gentlemen. Remember this? Just got married. Homosexuality was...
There's just not enough energy to do that right now. Not to alarm anyone, but the base is being...
Key point is where I spend probably most of my time during the day. All the DAT tools make it so that you are empowered as a small to mid-sized brokerage to get out there and play with any of the large players.
You just go.
was a phase, says Tim Dillon. She's a beautiful angel, Tim. Easy to see how she ungayed you. Is this real? Yeah, no, it was real. This is not a fake tweet. I think he might have deleted it, but I remember seeing it in real time, live when this tweet was out. We'll do the RFK Jr. compilation of all of the insane things that he said about vaccines and the like in a little bit. But, you know, awesome stuff overall. Brilliant minds in charge of all of these departments. It's a really interesting predicament because, like, on the one hand, you think about like Pete Hegseth or Tulsi Gabbard, right? But their positions in government are already like positions that require you to be very violent. And also, if you're incompetent, that's not necessarily the worst thing, right? Like if the American war machine and the person most responsible for the American war machine is an incompetent drunk asshole, maybe that's not the worst thing. But the Department of Health and Human Services requires competent leadership because it actually does touch the lives of many Americans in a very meaningful way. It is supposed to be the umbrella organization that controls so much of the regulatory space in terms of health and wellness. And the fact that you have a guy who is antagonistic to medicine, modern medicine in general, leading the charge there is truly terrifying. And one of the first initiatives that they put forth was, of course, taking out mood stabilizers and antipsychotics. Assess the prevalence of and threat posed by the prescription of selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, antipsychotics and mood stabilizers, stimulants, and weight loss drugs. Incredible stuff for them to come out and just be like, you know what we need to do at a time when seemingly week after week there is another dude with a lithium prescription that is off the medication or just never really got the medication necessary to combat whatever is going on up there, has ease of access to an arsenal of weapons and just goes into a school and lights it up. What we should do is make sure that there are less, okay, it's great. A perfect combination, readily available weapons everywhere, okay, and no health care, or even with the lucky few that have access to health care, once they do get that health care, once they do get a script, right, that the doctor told them to take, they won't be able to take that script, that prescribed medication, because we decided it's bad for you. Cool stuff. I wonder what that will do to the suicide rate in this fucking country that's already incredibly high to the combination of the factors that I mentioned, which is healthcare is inaccessible and paywalled, and also on top of that, weapons are very easy to acquire. Great stuff. You know, I look at this nation, I look at this wonderful nation, and I think to myself, you know what this nation needs? More insanity, okay? Yeah, Republicans love talking about how gun violence is a mental health problem, and then also turn around and go, we are not doing anything about mental health. As a matter of fact, we are not going to improve mental health in this country. We're going to make it worse. I honestly don't get how people can hear you say these things and just be like, this guy's an idiot. I mean, it's pretty easy. I think people just say that because of partisan perspectives. They're not applying reason or logic to the equation at all. I think they've been prone to hate, and it's understandable. That's it. That's where it comes from. It's not about personally thinking about what I'm saying and maybe thinking, all right, well, there's some truth to all of this. I get it. Yeah. Has Hassan been streaming for 4 hours? No, I've been streaming for 1 hour and 3 minutes. I've only been streaming for an hour so far. A lot of suicide talk happening now on the CPTSD forums because of that from the White House. Yeah, that's the other side. Like, there's also PTSD for veterans. There's also that too. Like, what do you think will happen to the veterans when they don't have access to the SSRIs? Great stuff. Definitely. Like, Americans medicate not because they, I don't know, are predisposed to insane levels of consumption and everything is burger. Every solution is just like consume more product, consume more commodities. There's kind of a reason for why a lot of Americans require this medication. You know? I like that there is there are a lot of things that require a multi-pronged approach. There are a lot of issues in this country. Virtually every issue in this country requires a multi-pronged approach. But instead of trying to address all of those problems individually and then fix virtually every aspect of society that is that is designed in a way to make sure that you're maximizing profits for shareholders, instead of undermining that structure and fixing it at the behest of the citizenry, we've decided to make things worse, okay, and take away all of the remaining the remaining SSRIs is not the end, you fucking ape. Zero, everything is about you. Zero. Yes. I think this
We are partners.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Get high. Get hydrated. Discover how Arup will get you high.
existence, like your existence this way, is certainly proving that medication is bad to take. Yeah. No, go ahead. Prove the point that I was making already. I also never said SSRIs is the end all be all. I said that for a lot of the problems that Americans face, the solutions are complex. It's multifaceted. Okay, I'm drunk right now, but okay, chatter. I mean, it's 12:44 here in California, so I don't know where you're at, but goddamn, okay. Don't check logs on stream, but the last day they logged in here says a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, virtually everyone's lives would be better if they had ease of access to mental health treatment, okay? That's all I'm gonna say. All right, I love you, chatter. You are loved, regardless of your disagreement with me right now in your drunken state, okay? Anyway, let's continue. Mass layoffs are beginning on federal workers. Here we are.
Now to Washington, and the Trump administration's beginning mass layoffs of federal workers impacting multiple agencies. Tens of thousands of employees are expected to lose their jobs. Our senior political correspondent, Rachel Scott, is tracking the latest from the White House. Good morning, Rachel.
Rebecca, good morning to you. And federal workers who did not resign as part of that buyout offer were warned that they could possibly be laid off or fired. And this morning, we are learning that mass layoffs have started across multiple federal agencies. This morning, the Trump administration taking its sweeping efforts to shrink the size of the federal workforce one step further, ordering agencies to lay off nearly all probationary employees, meaning those hired within the last 1 or 2 years. A move that could impact as many as 220,000 federal workers. At the Department of Veteran Affairs alone, more than 1,000 new workers were dismissed. Overnight, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau also firing term employees, with expectations that the rest may be fired today, leaving a skeleton staff of around 5%. The CFPB and VA are just two of several agencies that have started to cut federal workers so far. The administration also targeting the Department of Education and the Environmental Protection Agency. The largest federal employee union slamming the layoffs, calling it a blatant violation of the principles of fairness and merit that are supposed to govern federal employment, and saying the firings are about power. At some agencies, workers learned by email they had been laid off. But at the Office of Personnel Management, others found out on a call.
You will receive your termination notice via email shortly. As a result, your employment with the Office of Personnel Management will end today.
Elon Musk, who has billions of dollars in federal contracts and is spearheading the efforts to slash government spending, also calling for the elimination of whole agencies. Musk sitting down with Indian Prime Minister Modi Thursday before he met with President Trump. The president unsure the capacity of Musk's meeting and whether Musk was acting as a private citizen wanting to do business in India or a member of the administration.
I would imagine he met possibly because, he's running a company.
Trump pushed on how a foreign leader may know the difference.
Well, he's meeting with me in a little while, so I'm going to ask him that question.
He's like, I'm the head of state, and I'm here to do business too. I personally am also... I personally am basically like the reverse of someone who was elected as the head of state who also wants to do business deals. He's someone who is a businessman who's doing head of state stuff to basically do business deals. we're two sides of the same coin, you know? It's cool.
So the Indian prime minister was also asked if they discussed any business. He would only say that he has known Elon Musk for a very long time, guys.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for your reporting.
The Department of Education canceled more than $350 million.
The way media has just reported these as mass layoffs is absurd. The firings are illegal. You can't just mass terminate federal employees without cause, even if they're probationary. Even if they're probationary, people are losing their health care and lives are being torn apart. It's so fucking upsetting. Yeah, remember the 23% underemployment statistic that we looked at yesterday? 23% of the current existing workforce is either doing part-time jobs or basically makes less than $25,000, which is a poverty wage, okay? Now, remember, the reminder here is that obviously, obviously, the people that are currently being fired are not exactly caked up, but they at least have like decent jobs in comparison to the people making $25,000 a year. And we're firing them by the tens of thousands as well. Okay? Not only is this firing process unimaginably cruel, okay, it's also not done for good reason, and it will lead to a lot of these services that people rely on that they don't even realize that they rely on to go away, to be crippled. Of course, saying that this is illegal is virtually inconsequential in this process, because what are you going to do about it is basically the attitude that is demonstrated by this administration over and over again. A lot of people also don't understand that the federal government in and of itself does have a bunch of jobs that are just simply good to have, right? Not every single person is dealing with issues in the most efficient way possible, but it doesn't matter. It's not supposed to be that way. Jobs are given to people in many instances, whether it's the
Check this out.
They have over 1 million quality parts
that are guaranteed to fit. Now that's my speed.
federal government or even in private enterprise, not because like you have to have this many people working on this job, but sometimes jobs are given to people because it's good to have jobs. Okay, it's good to keep people busy. It's good to keep people it's good to make sure that they have a way of purchasing more commodities, to have disposable income. It's an important facet of the federal government, okay? And in many circumstances, considering, especially on the private sector, how much these guys engage in layoffs, most of the jobs that were previously done by 5 people, 6 people are now being done by 1 person or 2 people. As a consequence of technological improvements that make the workforce more productive. But that also means that there are less people making an honest living in that process. And that's a bad thing for the economy, okay? Saying that helps the conservatives' points that these people don't do shit and should be fired. Yes, because conservatives are stupid. Conservatives are stupid and live in a fantasy world where they think every single person on the job site is maximizing their efficiency at every point, not recognizing that they themselves in their own immediate workplaces are probably playing that very same role. Okay, whether it's a blue-collar job or a white-collar job, whether you're on the assembly line of some sort, you are not maxing out your efficiency at every given point. And it's understandable that you're not doing that. You're not supposed to do that. It's ridiculous to do that, especially if you're working for somebody else. Okay? The question I have for people is, and I guess like if you want to have this conversation with conservatives, you can have it on the basis of AI, because they were genuinely fearful of artificial intelligence and self-driving cars taking away key parts of the trucking sector, right? They were truly worried about that. And the question remains, okay, if AI and self-driving cars are going to eradicate the trucking sector, is that the best possible thing to do when we're moving forward? Should there not still be someone that sits on top of that truck, even if there's a FSD structure that exists? Okay, we criticize or not criticize, but like we make fun of Japan, for example, where there's like so many people working in these like ridiculous positions. There's always like an old person that covers like 4 sides of any sort of construction, where they're just sitting there with a light stick in their hands going like this all day, every day. Why does that guy do that? Now, obviously, he's too old to be doing that to begin with, and it's crazy that he's still working. But why is that guy doing that job? Does he have to do that job? Could that job be relegated to I don't know, a automated light stick? Probably. Definitely, as a matter of fact. It's not necessarily just because of safety, chatters. A big part of why these jobs exist is so that there is money to be given to these people so they can make a fucking honest living. People don't understand that. I agree that maximizing efficiency is bad for working conditions, but framing these jobs the only way to give people money isn't the right rhetoric when talking to conservatives about this. No, I'm not simply talking about this from the perspective of oh, these are jobs that need to exist so that people get paid. I'm simply tackling the concept of why jobs exist to begin with in certain sectors. Okay? In order for a society to be healthy and to function, you got to get people jobs, okay? You got to make sure that they're fulfilling a role, a duty. Okay? We need that. We need that more than anything else. Okay? But on top of that, a lot of these fucking jobs that are being eliminated right now are profoundly important anyway. And the consequences of eliminating these jobs and these mass layoffs is only going to be seen further down the line. Okay?
Dollars in spending yesterday for what it called woke initiatives, and much deeper cuts could be ahead. President Trump wants Linda McMahon to dismantle it entirely. But many people are confused over what the...
I'm a probationary employee that took the fork offer and still got fired late last night by email. If you're like me, you can still file an appeal with the MSPB for wrongful termination, even if you're probationary.
Department does and how school districts could be affected. Caitlin Huey-Burns is on Capitol Hill. Caitlin, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Nate. Well, you may know billionaire CEO Linda McMahon is the CEO of...
I don't disagree, but those people can't be doing nothing. Making things more efficient and cutting worthless jobs isn't inherently bad. It's about how the surplus produced is allocated. Yeah, except it is inherently bad. Okay? The proper process in this circumstance is not to fire people. Let's say technological efficiency has made it so that you can get the same work done a decade prior in literally 2 hours, okay? In a decade ago, you could get the same workload done over the course of an 8-hour workday, okay? Now you can do it in 2 hours. What is supposed to happen in a normal society, in an evolved society, is that you still get paid the same amount of money, okay, and you work 2 hours instead of the 8. But what obviously capital owners want to do in that process is fire the extra, fire all of the additional employees and make sure that 1 or 2 people are now tasked with this because they can do the entire workday's workload in 2 hours. That's efficiency. That's productivity. That's what this means when people say, oh.
You gotta hear about this. Go from idea to illustration faster with generative AI in Adobe Illustrator. Generate custom graphics, create seamless patterns, and instantly fill shapes with detail and color. Try Illustrator today. You won't be sorry.
Oh, productivity's increased, whereas wages have remained stagnant. Okay? To your point, China has automated seaports. They still have longshoremen, but they work in a chair and use joysticks to... Exactly. You have to have people still working. Technology is supposed to be a benefit to take away the burden of day-to-day work, okay? It's not supposed to be utilized in a way to offset the existing labor force. It's not supposed to be utilized in a way where you're engaging in mass layoffs, okay? That is what's so silly about this conversation. And many Americans who are primed to believe that capitalism is good, unironically write away their own death warrants, okay? They don't realize it's like, nah, we have to be super invested in efficiency. It's like, it's okay. It's okay to have efficiency at the job site, okay? But what you fail to comprehend is that that efficiency is not supposed to displace you. That efficiency is supposed to reduce your burden. It's supposed to reduce your workload, not actually keep your workload the exact same, but now your output is 10x because of technological advancements. Okay? That's the major problem. That is, I think, in this day and age, with AI becoming a conversation at the forefront of what will happen in the next step with labor, which is, I guess if you want to consider it like the next industrial revolution, okay? A lot of people who are so brain broken by capitalism being the only game in town, so fearful of the alternatives, have refused to reckon with what will happen once so much of the labor force is displaced. What do? Do you become a Wall-E style a person stuck to a chair that's like constantly consuming stuff? Is that your only purpose in life, is to become a part of the consumption engine? And then those who are not a part of that consumption engine are working the assembly lines and working for meager wages and dire conditions and worse conditions as we supercharge the exploitation? Is that what we're supposed to be doing? Is that the perfect future? Is that the utopian future that technology and all of its endless bounty was supposed to offer us? It's crazy. It's crazy that so many people do unironically feel like, well, I guess that's just the way things are. Even from a capitalist point of view, you're supposed to slow hiring, then trickle layoffs and buyouts to not collapse the local economy. People think food stamps is about being altruistic and not about keeping the stores open and the crime rate down. Exactly. That's the other side of this process that people don't understand. Wealthy libertarians used to call welfare the riot tax because they understood that without any social safety nets, there would be too much chaos and too much instability. But these guys forgot that aspect, okay? Or at the very least, they're stress testing how much they can destroy the working poor without ever having to deal with the violent consequences that are inevitable, okay? I thought food stamps were subsidizing farmers. It subsidizes everything. Food stamps are there to subsidize Walmart paying very little to its workforce. I manage a team in corporate America. I've been put on notice that if I do not train the new skills into my team and their work can be done with AI or automation, then I have to lay them off. It's insane. I don't understand how people can't comprehend what future we are leading, what future we're like bouldering towards, like a very negative one, not a positive one at all, okay? How do people not see that? Meanwhile, as I'm talking about the dire situation, what terrorists are we platforming today? I'd love to see some Al-Qaeda old-timers getting some W's in the chat and telling how pog it was to do 9/11. Yeah, dude, big fan of 9/11 is me. I'm a big fan of 9/11. Dog, you've been in this community since well, you unfollowed and refollowed, but you've been in this community since 2021, okay? Like, I said America deserved 9/11 in 2019. What happened? Did you rewrite your fucking brain in the process? Like, what happened? For years and years, you were in here, okay, as a fan. Subscribe for 2 months in the past. Like, how did you forget your previous assumptions that you had made about me only with, I don't know. Like, how do you go from have a wonderful Saturday, buddy, to, oh, you love terrorism? Like, you were in here, okay? You were literally in here under the assumption that maybe I don't love terrorism. That person had fun here. That's what I mean. It's crazy. Like, how do you lose, this RP shit is the tits. I mean, fuck politics. Give me more of this, Lamau. How do you lose sight of, like, who you were and what your previous positions were? That's truly. Read his comment about America. Yeah, America will be taken over by Nazis within 5 years. You heard it here first. My man literally called out the current state of affairs in 2021. Okay, like, he was right. You were right in 2021 when you were a fan. You were right. Now this is the type of insane shit that you're saying. How did this happen? How did you get here? Okay, what steps did you take in your life that caused you to go from, in 2021, correctly predicting the current business, okay, the current order of...
Your video before Artlist. Your video after Artlist.
Of affairs into becoming a part of that movement. Think about that. What is this? It's called 5 Asmin videos a day. Your editors are pumping one every 2 days. I mean, there's nothing you can do on that front. You watched Asmin for 3 years? No, I don't think this is an Asmongold fan. I think this is anyway, try to go back to where your brain was in 2021, because you clearly had better opinions back then, chatter, okay? My logs are so embarrassing. I asked you to watch Mr. Beast multiple times before Trump got shot at. That's funny. Maybe it's because I didn't game. No, he unfollowed in like somewhere along 2022, it seems, and then came back just now to say, what terrorism are we watching today? Hassan hates Jews. Nice, dude. Yeah, maybe if you keep writing that in the chat over and over again, it'll become true. It's not. It's never going to be true, but it's okay. You can keep fantasizing. Weirdo.
WWE, the former CEO, and she also served in the cabinet in Trump's first term. But now she's in the unique position of trying to lead an agency that President Trump wants to get rid of.
I mean, there's a certain group right now that's going insane over your chair and the cost it has. Yeah, ironically enough, I got it for free. Logitech sent it to me for free. But of course I would pay for it.
And I am really all for the president's.
Now let's talk about what actually matters, okay? The fucking Department of Education being abolished, okay? Eyes on the prize, everybody. If you're coming in here to be like, I am going to advance the agenda of my favorite content creator online by, sparking the flames of drama at a time when the fucking Department of Education is slated to be abolished, when tens of thousands of federal employees are being laid off, and this is what you care about, I'm sorry, you are a very unserious person. I know that this sounds like fun stuff to focus on. I get it. I totally get it. Especially because it keeps your brain occupied at a time when change seems so far away. Okay? But goddamn. Please, I don't want to yuck your yum. Okay? I do not want to yuck your yum. If this is what you fancy, if this is what you like to do, great. More power to you. Okay? But don't try to like masquerade this as some sort of serious political commentary. You understand? With all this DOE talk, what's your take on homeschooling? I think it should be abolished. I think it should be illegal. And in many competent countries, it is. I wish these cheese brain YouTube drama frogs would get back to their financial aid office jobs and beating their shit off to them 2 boys on Supernatural.
Mission, which is to return education to the states.
At her confirmation hearing Thursday,
I don't even know what the fuck's going on
Linda
there,
McMahon
honestly.
acknowledged that doing away with the Department of Education would require an act of Congress.
It is set up by the United States Congress, and we work with Congress. It clearly cannot be shut down without it.
While President Trump has long pledged to abolish the agency.
Oh, I'd like it to be closed immediately. Look, the Department of Education's a big con job.
On Thursday, McMahon suggested that some of the department's core functions could be moved elsewhere.
It is not the president's goal to defund the programs. It is only to have it operate more efficiently.
Established by Congress in 1979, the Department of Education has an $80 billion budget. But most of the funding for education comes from state and local governments, with the federal government contributing only about 13%. The agency provides financial assistance to low-income schools, administers Pell Grants, oversees federal student loans, and enforces rules around civil rights and students with disabilities. Arne Duncan ran the Department of Education under President Obama and says states are already in charge.
What the Department of Education does is adds additional resources to make sure children with special needs have access to public education. Children who need access to food have that. Children who need access to pre-K has that. So to somehow act like the U.S. Department of Education is in charge of education in America is beyond dishonest.
Now, the Trump administration is considering executive action that would direct the Department of Education secretary to put forward a plan.
Remember, guys, Biden could never possibly wait, what the fuck? Hold on one second. Why does this what is happening with my alerts? God damn it, dude. My alerts have been busted for some time now. I don't know why. I gotta fix them at some point. But okay, that's neither here nor there. All right, so my layout is like that. Yeah, Biden could not abolish student loan debt, which was in his legal purview. Okay, which it, like, regardless of whatever the Supreme Court says, like, he absolutely had the right to do that. Okay. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally abolishing the Department of Education in its entirety. Oh my God. What a ridiculous situation we're in, dude. What a crock of shit this is. How did you predict this? What is this? Oh, shut up. That's... What? Yeah, Mankind. No. Undertaker throws Mankind off top of Hell in the Cell. Oh my God, you got me. You got me. I watched the clip. I watched your clip. Bergamania strikes again. I'm pretty sure he just got Trump to nominate our North Dakota State Superintendent as the new Assistant Director of the Department of Education. In her statement, I'm excited to support over 49 million.
Get high. Get hydrated. Discover how Arup will get you high.
The trampling all over your matching. The sound you hear if your employer matches your 401k contribution. It's free money, so take advantage. Click the link for more money wisdom. Add words of wisdom.
Students in America. I think it's really funny to think that Donald Trump consistently states that countries like Norway, Sweden, Finland, and even China are so good at education, right? Their education is so much better than the United States of America, okay? And it's really interesting because on the one hand, he recognizes that. On the other hand, he doesn't recognize how they got there or why they're there and why America is not there, okay? If Donald Trump was truly interested in fixing America's awful education standing in the world, he would probably look a little bit deeper. He would maybe scratch the surface, okay? I tweeted about this yesterday. Donald Trump, or 2 days ago, Trump talking about shutting down the Department of Education while hyping up Norwegian and Chinese education is insane. These countries have well-funded public education systems. I know you're covering important stuff right now, but how are people making videos that get 160,000 views about you going to jail? Why is this a thing? Some guy named Nuxanor got in my feed. It's so weird. Happy Valentine's. Wait, what? People are making videos about me possibly going to jail? Oh, because of my pro-Palestinian commentary? Is that what it is? I'm going to go to jail for being pro-Palestine? Love that. Isn't that the lolly pedo guy? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, it could happen. I think it's wild to fantasize about that and act like that is a good thing. But,
I remember when this was all
you know, like, do you want that to happen? That's the question you should be asking, I guess. What if they want you to go to a cool Norwegian prison? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyway, some anime YouTuber is mad at you. It's not just an anime YouTuber, because I have a lot of friends in the anime YouTube. It's a lolicon pedo enjoyer who has a VTuber avatar. And he is unimaginably pro-Israel. Shockingly, he is incredibly pro-Israel and has lost his fucking mind. You make the wildest enemies. It's just so consistent, though. It's so incredibly consistent. What the fuck? Why is my goddamn alerts broken? It's so annoying. Anyway, are you the anti-pedo spray? Yes, I am the anti-genocide and anti-pedophile, preeminent anti-genocide, anti-pedophilia content creator. One of the other or both. It depends. If you fit in the category of someone who is maybe agnostic to genocide or agnostic to sex crimes and pedophilia, okay, sometimes both, oftentimes both, as a matter of fact, you probably are not going to have a good time here, okay? You are going to hate me, it seems. Anyway.
To diminish the agency. Now, anything to get rid of the Department of Education would have to be passed by legislation in Congress. But President Trump is expected to push leaders up here on Capitol Hill for just exactly that. Tony?
Reagan tried it, couldn't do it. Maybe Trump will accomplish it. Caitlin, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll keep following it. Other developments in Washington, mass firings of federal workers are underway this morning, part of the Trump administration's effort to dramatically cut back on the government overall. The firings could only number in the hundreds of thousands. And in another dramatic change, the president is promising more tariffs, this time on any country that has a tariff on us. He says basically if they charge us, we're going to charge them right back. Nancy Cordes is at the White House with more on what all this means. Nancy, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. This can be confusing, so here it is in a nutshell. Currently,
National Institute of Health News. My girlfriend just told me that they just fired all of the staff scientists and senior postdocs within her branch of the Neuroscience Research Program Department. Sorry for spam. Last message about it. I mean, who needs neuroscientists, dude?
My castles.
At the National Institute of Health. That's not necessary research, dude. I don't understand. Why would you ever need that? The neuroscientist is the natural. Also, yes. I'll have you know, a neuroscientist is the natural enemy of a brainworm, okay? And considering that the HHS is now run by the worm in the brain, I suspect that many actions will be taken against those who want to eviscerate brainworms. Rand 940, thank you for the 10 community gifted subs. Are neuroscientists woke now? Yes. My lab lost R&D running last week and fired a couple hundred scientists working on a revolutionary new STD test system. It's, I mean, we already learned that with COVID. It's better if you don't test it, you know? If you don't test it, then it doesn't exist. Our dean keeps emailing students to contact congressmen saying our school is cooked without research funding. Wonder Gal 96, thank you for the fire gifted.
many countries place higher tariffs or taxes on U.S. goods than the U.S. imposes on theirs. President Trump is directing his advisors to now even think.
Guys, neuroscientists are bad because, one, they're anti-brainworm, okay, and that's an untenable position. And two, okay, and perhaps more importantly, they say stuff like, you know, blue chemical dye is probably not healthy to consume. Or gay and woke things like, we don't have enough research on whether or not blue chemical dye could actually help with any of your medical complications. When you hear stuff like that from a gay and woke neuroscientist, obviously, immediately, if you're a blue chemical dye kind of guy, you're going to go, okay, well, you're fired. Okay? Don't worry. I'm sure all the neuroscientists in Asmus chat are letting him know they were fired too. Yes. in between their
Not enough clip to make the cut? Now just drag and extend your tracks to add frames, lengthen ambient audio, and avoid awkward cuts. Try Generative Extend in Premiere Pro Beta now, and never miss a beat.
Their guild trade ducting in trade chat. They're talking about how they're losing their neuroscience research jobs.
Things up. He says it will mean more revenue for the U.S. government, but economists warn it could also lead to a global trade war and drive prices up here at home.
Whatever they charge us, we're charging them.
Announcing his new plan in the Oval Office, President Trump said no country will be exempt from his reciprocal tariffs.
This applies to everybody across the board.
The term reciprocal tariffs may sound dry, but they could affect the price of almost everything. For example, the European Union currently imposes a 10% tariff on imported cars. But the U.S. only levies a 2.5% tariff on their cars. That would change under Trump's plan. Though he says world leaders like India's Narendra Modi, who met with Trump yesterday, would be welcome to negotiate.
It's very hard.
There is something very funny about Trump doing reciprocal tariff policies. And like for cars, I kind of get it because it's like a part of our manufacturing capabilities right now, even though it is limited. Okay. And also part of the reason why other countries, other marketplaces simply don't buy our cars is, of course, to improve their own domestic manufacturing, to make sure that people are still buying local, but also because our fucking cars literally don't work on their roads, okay? Some of our cars are illegal to drive on European roads. Most of our cars, like the F-150, which is the most popular vehicle every single year, with the exception of last year, where RAV4, Toyota RAV4, actually outflanked the Ford F-150 pickup truck for the first time in, I believe, like multiple decades. Okay? The Ford F-150 cannot be driven on European roads without a commercial driving license. What are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to do? Our cars have gotten increasingly larger and larger, okay? Its engine size is too large. It's too heavy. It does not abide by European safety standards, like woke and gay safety standards, such as pedestrian safety, okay? If your car is far too high, it makes it creates additional problems for pedestrians in walkable cities. Now, if you're an American, you're probably looking at me and going, the fuck do you mean? What's a walkable city? What the hell is a walkable city? Do you mean when you walk from the double wide parking lot spot that I parked my F-350 King Rancher into to walk over to the Walmart? Is that what you mean, walkable cities? 15-minute cities? That's a part of the problem. America has never been invested in actually competing in other marketplaces and has enforced its dominance through tariffs and through this complicated global trade structure. That's the problem. Okay? The Japanese were literally just dumping the F-150s. They were forced to purchase as a vassal state a shit ton of Ford vehicles. They're fine vehicles. It's just that you can't use them in Japan. What are they supposed to do? Now we're treating every country like we did Japan in the 90s when they were popping off too hard. Ugh. Anyway, the issue is if America was actually invested in real trade, they would try to universalize our safety standards and our regulations so that they could make a competitive product for other marketplaces. But that's not going to happen. Do you understand? So now we're just going to do what? We're going to force these countries to purchase these cars. Otherwise, we will dominate them or some shit. Like, it doesn't make sense. And I say this as someone who obviously, one, loves the UAW, okay? Shouts out to the UAW. Loves that there is at least some semblance of manufacturing in this country that doesn't revolve around making murder weapons and finding new and unique ways to laser brown children overseas, okay? But the reality of the matter is those guys are just making whatever car that their bosses tell them to make, okay? It's not like they're designing the fucking cars. And even the designers are not designing the cars because this is this is a passion project or whatever. They're designing the cars in a way to make the highest level of profit. Mirage just walked by and said, engineers deserve all the money. It's kind of like how over here in Europe, most American cars that were on sale 20 to 30 years ago were retired earlier than usual because they were so crap compared to local manufacturers / Japanese / Korean ones. What are they going to do now? If they come again, they'll be thrown into the scrapyard within 15 years. At Ford F-150 didn't lose to no dadgum Toyota, brother. You're lying. Yeah. One must ask. Ran 940. Thank you for the 35 community gifted subs. And Ave Satana. Thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Okay. Peace. All right, we'll do. Anyway, it just doesn't make any sense in terms of trade. It doesn't make any sense. It's so stupid. It's it's so ridiculous. We're just like we're being bullies. In a way, it's no different than the NATO.
We are partners.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Situation. Well, I guess it's even worse in the NATO situation. Demanding that other countries put more into their own defense, like a higher percentage of their GDP into their defense, and fingers crossed, purchase more American weapons, is a way to demand more in your extraction, is a way to extract more resources from your protection racket. Okay. Is reciprocal tariffs also include regulation a country has that restricts American companies? For example, banking regulations in Canada. Oh, fantastic. I think in order for countries to maintain some semblance of sovereignty and some semblance of autonomy, they are going to have to probably restrict trading with this wonderful nation and maybe find themselves in the hands of the global monster of manufacturing, China. Now, I don't know if they'll do that. They probably won't. But it's crazy. If the World Bank and the IMF and their incredibly restrictive austerity implementations for the loans, the incredibly restrictive conditions they had on their loans, their lending structure, was awful for a lot of developing nations, and they found themselves in the hands of the One Belt, One Road initiative coming out of China because they were just offering a better alternative out there. There's a better way, there's a better pathway for our European partners in trade as well.
To sell into India because they have trade barriers, very strong tariffs. We are right now a reciprocal nation.
Deutsche Bank warned this week that reciprocal tariffs pose additional upside risks to the inflation outlook. Trump claims the pain would be temporary.
Well, I think what's going to go up is jobs are going to go up, and prices could go up somewhat short term, but prices will also go down.
Billionaire Elon Musk and his children also met with Modi yesterday. In a virtual appearance at an international summit, Musk, who heads the Department of Government Efficiency, said he's working to eliminate not just jobs, but entire cabinet-level departments.
We do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind.
As for a timeline for when reciprocal tariffs could take effect, the president's Commerce Secretary says that the research should be done by April 1st, and then it's up to Trump when exactly to enact any of the new recommendations. Nate?
All right, Nancy, thank you. Right now, we have CBS News Money Watch correspondent Kelly O'Grady here right now to break down what these tariffs actually mean for your bank book. Good morning. Good to see you. So let's jump right into it. So how will this impact, us in the U.S. and when will it take effect?
Unfortunately, us pushing EU towards China narrative does not work. Both EU and China want to grow through exports. Both need an import economy as their partner. It simply does not work. That's also fair. But who knows, man? Who knows? China's got a lot of money. Maybe they'll unleash the treats. Access to the Chinese marketplace is safeguarded by the government. I doubt that they would change that structure, but yeah. The American treatlerites are an endless resource for every other country, including China. Okay? This is part of the reason why the One Belt, One Road initiative is so important for the future of China. They want to develop secondary markets so that they can make up for the loss that the loss of access to the American treatlerite consumer base. We've we've constructed the world economy by weaponizing our trade deficits through abusing exorbitant privilege. But what happens if everyone joins BRICS? I mean, that's not I don't think BRICS is like a real alternative. Okay, can we just sell California to the Dutch yet? China should move on from the consumerist model to a degrowth model. I doubt that that's going to happen. That's crazy. Chinese people don't spend like someone from the EU or NA, so opening up foreign goods more, that's also not true. They do. But this second part of what you're explaining is correct. Opening up foreign goods more so then they already do would starve their own companies is correct. That's the one thing that you're not wrong on in terms of, no, Chinese people are consumers, okay? China is very American coded, okay? They have affordable public transit, okay, that is readily available, but they also have mega cities with massive highways and a lot of fucking cars. I try to explain this to people and they don't understand. China is not like Japan at all in terms of like people constantly being heavily regulated and presenting themselves in a certain way in public, for example. They are chaotic in a very similar way to how Americans are, okay? They love their treats, just like Americans do. There are a lot of similarities between Americans and Chinese culture in that regard. They're hyper-consumerists. It's just that they're held together by a competent administrative state, okay? Your Chad has never met a Chinese person or visited China, I swear. Yeah, I mean, yes, they probably never visited China. I've never visited China either, but, you know, aren't they also way less individualistic? I mean, yes, I think, like, there's obviously a lot of cultural remnants that
With Crypto.com, you can make your predictions about the results. Check it out now at Crypto.com or in the app.
Get high. Get hydrated. Discover how Arup will get you high.
play a role here, but I think what's more important is the actual government, is the way that the government operates. I've been, it's not that bad, but it's boring as hell. We do buy a lot. We just stopped buying Western goods. Why buy from countries that actively demonize China? We buy locally now, and the products are much more competitively priced. Top G is back with another banger. Do you think the Chinese will need to start thinking about financializing their economy? I hope not. I mean, it's already led to a bunch of issues, a bunch of bubbles that they had to deal with recently. I think financialization of the economy is suicide. Look at the United States of America. You know what financializing your economy does? First of all, it's the exact opposite. Even if there is any degree of financialization, it is done with a broader vision from the government. Okay, but as far as financialization in the United States of America goes, virtually every single company that was tasked with manufacturing, even those within the defense sector, even, you know, incredibly important companies like Boeing, have turned into banks, okay? That's what happens when you financialize every sector. Every single company turns into a fucking bank. They don't make moves. They don't actually manufacture new goods. They don't actually invest enough in R&D in terms of like actual new competitive products or things that actually improve people's lives, okay? Faster planes or whatever. They use all of their resources, all of the existing additional resources that they have to make financial manipulation, to engage in financial manipulation so that they can keep increasing their stock prices. That's it. That's what happens when you turn into a bank. And obviously, in that process, there are a lot of cost-cutting initiatives that come in. There's a lot of harm done to the labor sector in the process because you're engaging in layoffs. Okay? And then a decade later, the outsourcing of manufacturing, and the gutting of the regulatory state play a role in planes fucking falling out of the sky sometimes. And then we just go, how did this happen? Anyway.
That's the clarity that we all want, right? So let's think about some of the countries that could be impacted. Brazil, EU. What products do we get from them? So India, agriculture, textiles, medical devices. Brazil, petroleum, beef, coffee. And then the EU, wine, a key ingredient in weight loss drugs, cars like Audi and Mercedes. If the U.S. puts a tariff on these countries that already tax us, you will see prices potentially go up on those items. In terms, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, people will finish your thought, and then I have a follow-up.
So in terms of when this could take effect, as Nancy said, right, potentially April 2nd, these could go into place. It takes about 6 to 9 months for you to see that happen at the stores. Depends on the industry, it depends on the inventory. But we have a very delicate inflationary environment. This could escalate into a trade war. Could also be a negotiation tactic.
Yeah, I was jumping the gun on the counterpoint here because people care about rising prices, but they don't feel them as much if their wages are going up. So I think a question is, how does this affect businesses, and could it lead to more jobs somehow?
Potentially. So the idea is that we buy more goods from these countries than they buy from us. The president is hoping that these tariffs could encourage these countries to buy more from American companies. That means more demand. That means more need for American jobs. So
I like that there is no way to be actually competitive in the global marketplace with China, for example. So on the one hand, both the EU and the United States of America are desperately trying to push out Chinese goods from their marketplaces. And then the United States also simultaneously is turning around and saying, you got to buy our shit instead. It is the same principle in every facet of the foreign policy that we push for, okay? No more natural gas from Russia. You got to get it from us. Oh, do you need to build new plants to take on American LNG? Sucks to suck. You got to fucking do it, bitch. Okay? You can't buy cheap affordable Chinese electric vehicles. It's going to destroy your own domestic manufacturing, okay? Which is true. It will, right? But then also simultaneously, you need to buy our shit instead. Oh, does it not work on your roads? Will it destroy your roads that were built in like the 14th century? Sucks to suck. Oh, does an F-150 not fit on your narrow Italian streets? Sucks to suck. You have to buy it. I don't care where you put it. You can dump it in the ocean for all I give a shit. You have to buy it. By force. It's great. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. Seems great. So many American cars are literally illegal in Japan due to safety? Yeah. But hey, guess what, dude? We're the big bully on the global stage, so we will make sure that they are no longer illegal. Oh, do you have any sovereignty? Oh, you thought you had sovereignty. Oh, you thought you were a competent government working to a certain degree at the behest of the citizenry? Guess what, dude? Fuck your regulatory bodies, okay? Look at what we're doing to our regulatory state. Now your regulatory state will be gutted too. What happens if they say no? There are very few alternatives, so I don't know. I don't know. I think a part of this bargain that holds it together is obviously the American consumption machine, which is an incredibly valuable market. That's why while TikTok is marginal in terms of like the American market in terms of numbers is marginal for TikTok, it's massive for how much money is being made, how much revenue is being generated. TikTok is a great example of this. The American market by raw numbers is, what is it like? By raw numbers in terms of like people using TikTok in the United States of America was 170 million. It's actually still a decent percentage of the overall base of TikTok consumers. I believe it's around 10%. Okay, probably a little bit higher. Now, if you lose 10% of your user base, that's a pretty significant. That's a pretty significant number of people, but it's not like dire. But what you're actually losing is the revenue. Okay, because despite making up, let's say, 10 to 20% of the base of users, the American marketplace makes up a pretty significant chunk of the revenue for TikTok. Because America has a lot of money. America is a very wealthy country. That's why even the average American in comparison to the average European person has a shit ton more money in the global marketplace.
You could see something like that happen. Unfortunately, these companies, they don't know. We'll note the last time we did see industries lose some jobs because of these higher prices.
All right, interesting. All right, Kelly, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
This break is brought to you by Adobe Photoshop, featuring the amazing new text-to-image. Now you can create just by typing a prompt. So go ahead, whip up an underwater pink and purple coral wonderland. Get weird, get creative, and get your free trial at Photoshop.com.
Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the player ranked #1 in the world by Dark and the red, the final boss.
This is up to speed.
It's Dark. Up against the best Protoss player out there in the blue. We
Time's
have
up.
MaxPax, a best of 5 Protoss versus Zerg showdown between Dark's barely controlled chaos and MaxPax's pixel perfect Protoss precision. I just have one more thing to hopefully add before we get started. And that is you smashing the like button and maybe even subscribing to help counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? Oh, happy Valentine's Day. Oh, not to the family. Let's not be ridiculous. 1,544 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Dark sneaks some Zerglings across the map, Max Pax with a Stargate halfway done. The Adept is going to the north side. Dark is sending the Lings to the south. And will there be a second Adept done? No, he's sending it out immediately, because of course he is. Max Pax wants to keep as much pressure on as possible. But Dark will not miss an opportunity to sneak in and make your day a little bit more complicated. And that's a very nice way of putting it. The Zerglings just walk right in, and the probes will respond immediately. Unlikely they'll get any kills, but just generally messing with the early game. Now, Max Pack's not missing a beat. He's already keeping the pressure on with the Adepts. And having that shade ability to get away. One of the Queens able to take out the Adepts. So it looks like the Zerglings were taken out by the probes. No probes taken down, and he didn't actually scout the main base or the Stargate. Now it's kind of implied. It's almost certain that a Stargate is on the way, and likely an Oracle as well. Occasionally Void Rays nowadays, but Oracle, by and large, the choice. And now Dark will learn that in the most dramatic fashion. Burns away. Energy recharge to load up the Oracle with a lot more dangerous energy. And heads across the map to do whatever he can to both scout and annoy the Zerg, and ideally get some advantages from it. That's part of the reason why blocking the Natchery, where the Queens are currently driving away the Oracle, is such an important part of the early game, and why so many players will attempt it. Because if they're able to expand in a more linear fashion, it's very likely there'll be creep. There's not going to be as many opportunities to catch drones transferring, to catch areas where Queens don't have creep. So, in general, sending the probe out early to block the base ends up being worth it in the long run against most players, if you're able to take advantage of it. If you're a player who's less likely to be 100% on top of the Oracles and the Adepts, you're probably not going to see as much value unless the Zerg just gets tilted and falls off the table or tries to flip it. But in this case, so far, Max Pack's just using it to keep Dark at bay, keep tabs on everything. There's no Queen in the main, so he just lights up the Oracle, gonna try to pick off a couple more, but only finds one. And the Queens, there's no Spore.
You know how a few small changes on your website can somehow take days?
It's interesting.
Or even weeks to ship? With Framer?
Crawler. At the third base at all. So, but the Queens on both sides. But like spurring to catch areas where Queens don't have creep. So, in general, sending the probe out early to block the base ends up being worth it in the long run against most players, if you're able to take advantage of it. If you're a player who's less likely to be 100% on top of the Oracles and the Adepts, you're probably not going to see as much value unless the Zerg just gets tilted and falls off the table or tries to flip it. But in this case, so far, Max Pack's just using it to keep Dark at bay, keep tabs on everything. There's no Queen in the main, so he just lights up the Oracle, gonna try to pick off a couple more, but only finds one. And the Queens, there's no Spore Crawler at the third base at all. So, but the Queens on both sides, politely, well, not so politely.
Multiple instances. Compare and contrast.
Yet firmly driving away the Oracles. But Max Pax, this is all just a delaying action, as he's got Blink and +1. He's already got 2 gates, adding 4 more robotics facility. So clearly angling towards that Blink pressure. And we'll see if Dark ends up flinching. But he's already got plenty of Zerglings. The Blink start. There's nothing here. Where's the shield battery? The Adept out of position.
He goes really aggressive.
And Dark just gets in and starts ripping apart the probes. Oracle now recharged, has the energy, but the Zerglings run through, take a few probes with them, and run right back out. Only 2 probes, despite the danger of that situation. He's going to come back in again, but look at the positioning of Max Pax's pylon. Well, it's good, but Hey, he only
This
gets
game,
one more
each
probe. So
attack.
for all those Zerglings, couple dozen,
Hydras.
and look at
He's
Dark
against
Swell. He
Protoss.
just built around the drones. But not really getting a huge economic advantage. Though, MaxPax
That's a really late. 618. I don't need him to do that. Hard to tell.
is handling that about as calmly and as conservatively as possible. Really, he couldn't have done less and still defended it. One Adept, one Oracle that warps in a couple units. But Dark, not going to be able to intimidate him off that base. Actually using Overlord creep drop, and not for some sort of crazy all-in, but just to extend the creep out further. It literally just takes pressing the button in order to let those Overlords drop their creep like, well, like it's Valentine's Day, I guess, but... Though, of course, an Overlord out in the middle of the field is intensely vulnerable to Stalkers, especially with Blink and +1. Though that extra bit of creep, he's going to have the vision here. Overlord gliding away. Will draw a couple hits, gets taken out. MaxPax some clean blinks back.
Ooh, that's not
gets
good.
caught by the stasis. Meanwhile, Blink Stalker still fighting against the Queen.
Clutch of Hydras.
Hydras, first one taken out. And every unit counts in these exchanges. Both players pilot
All
in
the
with
queens are
continued
there.
reinforcements. There's one more stasis.
It's interesting. So he's
I
not
don't think Dark
injecting
spotted
behind
it.
this.
Otherwise, he would have split off a Ling for sure. And this is Dark's fourth
he
base.
is.
It's
I'd have to
very
see the
important for
replay.
him to keep a hold of, but it
But no, he's not
isn't the
injecting
end of
behind
the
this.
game if he loses it, assuming he still has an army. MaxPax, though, has a fourth base on the way as well. He's already building Colossi, which are uniquely suited to incinerating this Hydra Ling composition. If Dark is going to stay focused on this very mid-game oriented army, the Colossi are going to find more and more value, right up until a hive is finished for Vipers. One of those Stalkers caught in a prison of the Stasis Ward's design. The Zerg rocks in the center have bled out. He's actually holding on to the Colossi, though I don't know if the Overlord has spotted it. Wow, MaxPax firing over the top of the Zerglings, picking off some of the Hydras, and still getting away with the help of the Stasis Wards. Not intimidated by the Zerg at all, just really managing it. Feels like the damage control here is just incredible. And just as the Hydras close in, well, there's something bigger to deal with. A Colossus is trundling forward, and the thermal lances might not yet be fully extended, but mine is getting there. So now the hive is halfway done. Roaches and Hydras on the way. Roaches already added in, I think, that Dark expected something along these lines. He's starting to add in more roaches instead of going just Hydra Ling. He may have spotted it with the Overlord, actually. The Colossus was sitting over there for a minute or two, so adding the roaches in to mitigate the damage while still having enough to put out in front. The Roach Hydra trying to break through the rocks, but in comes MaxPax again. Triggers a stasis. The Queen's trying to help out. Oh, more stasis on the back line. He doesn't really suspect it. Another chunk of the army is taken out of the field.
And I would
not killed
hold in
off, but
against
creates an
this.
awkward scenario in about 30 seconds when it comes out of
So
stasis.
bad. This is such an awkward
Meanwhile,
composition, though.
some charge lots cutting through into the third. Already getting a lot of damage done, both killing the drones and drawing a lot of the armor out of the way. Another stasis taken out before it can complete. The Oracles maintain their position. Dark, his supply, he has a lead. 2 Vipers on the way, but MaxPax actually has more workers. Going up to 10 gateways. The battle continues. +2 ground weapons about to complete. Dark isn't far off it either. Another Colossus comes up. The thermal lances are extended. Maximum range there. Can actually see the color change on the Colossi. They now have a reddish as opposed to an orangish thermal lance because, I don't know, space magic. Meanwhile, Colossi still burning through. Dark caught between
And
a
Dark
rock and a hard
is
place.
really
and the
controlling
Queens
well, and this
are
still
removed from the
looks
field.
like just
Dark currently has
insurmountable.
0 queens, which is not very many. It's just mass roaches as the Hydras are becoming less and less
Oh, yoinker.
of an option. He has enough energy, gets one abduct, yanks it, get over here. Will soften
oh,
things
that
up.
immediately-
MaxPax goes
ooh.
all the way forward to try to pick off the Viper and misses the mark. He doesn't
not that
kill it.
Viper.
And he loses some extra stalkers, so that one Viper just abducted the
Look how
entire
strong.
attack out of it. Something
Viper's still
profound.
survived, though.
Anyways, consuming the hatchery. That's maybe not here. So what I've learned is a lot of pro Zergs actually click on the mini-map to consume. You can click on the minimap to consume, and what is the biggest building on the minimap you can reliably click on? I don't think that's what was happening there, but the habit is pretty common. That's Stasis.
The Stasis worlds have been
He
amazing.
gets one of the Vipers on the way, though, before the review comes through.
These are good
And the Roach Hydra's
feedbacks.
still chewing through. The Colossus forced to trundle back. Storm is not completed. The Templar have energy charge lots dive or drive away the Roaches towards the north side. But Maxpax is
gotta
forced
keep
to
that
give
Colossus
up
alive,
his
though.
Nexus. In Dark,
Just
with
keep the
relative
Nexus.
ease dismantling that unit composition. He wants to kill the Nexus. He gets out of there. Both players just abandoning it before it's actually dead. But the engagement kind of heats up again. Massive warping into the main. Maxpax comes around with Immortals and Charge Lots and then Archon as well. Down the center will be driven away the main base, though the Charge Lots are slicing through the drones yet again. Currently Dark at 61 drones, whereas Maxpax has 69 workers, giving him a nice lead going into the later game. A
Nice
Mothership
lead.
is in production, but Dark is at 200 supply. He's got the Vipers. He just knocked out the 4th base. If he can take the other base, but he eats a Storm. Many of the Hydras brutally softened up, and most of them killed by the secondary Storm. Hydra Lunge comes through, but another Storm drives him away from the 3rd. And Maxpax is starting to falter. The Storms aren't enough to stop the tide of Zerg from coming across the
Lunge
map.
is kinda
And
interesting.
185 to 140 supply is the current count. But +3 ground weapons.
So hard
Another
'cause
Storm.
this
The
composition's
probes
different
are
what I would go
transferring
for
through the
against
Roach
Terran.
Hydra. Maxpax down to 54.
Terran doesn't have
Whereas the
Colossi.
continued mid-game aggression from Dark is putting on so much pressure. Oh,
And you
the
don't get out of
Vipers.
space.
Awkward. Is he gonna have to do it again? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we got him. War Prism taken out. The Mothership, though. How many Overseers? Just one. Just
Hard to
one
control, sir.
Overseer. The Mothership itself, with cloaking, could turn this entire game around. As Dark, definitely not suspecting it. The Fleet Beacon was built before I even noticed, which isn't necessarily a massive accomplishment, but the Mothership is about to arrive.
those
The
rocks
Overseer
out.
is coming
This
with the
arc is
army.
huge.
Another Stasis storms
Storm's
off to the right
good.
flank.
Oop,
Dodges
yoink.
back. Immortal yanked out. But the Mothership!
Unlinkable.
Oh, blinding cloud on the ground. If you can't see, neither can I. But the Overseer is so important right now. Sieges it up. There's a Colossus. More Templar coming down. Nexus falls. Storms across the bow. Roaches at the front. Lunges back. +3 attack is done. Meanwhile, some Charge Lots found 13 drone kills on the other side.
Jesus.
So much with so little. Dark is just going for the throne right now, trying to kill Maxpax outright. The Mothership is actually adding a ton of damage at the moment. Has he used Time Warp? Yes. In that last fight. But the Charge Lots
retreat.
killed 15 drones. And Dark! It looks so good. It's 120 to 112 supply in favor of the Danish Protoss. He's turned it around. Dark went too far. He dug too deep. And he dug too greedily. The gold base was nearly
We're
cleared out by
long
the Charge
past
Lots.
me,
Dark
like,
is forced to
optimizing my
rebuild
opening
drones.
build.
Not something you want to be
Now we're
doing
in like the
when this
weeds and the
high-tech
chaos of
Protoss
the
army is
game.
bearing down
This is
on
all
you.
vibes.
While the
I'm not here
supplies
yet.
may be kind of similar, Maxpax's army
Okay.
is almost twice the minerals and over.
Even it.
Not enough minerals. You're flat broke, mate. Get some more minerals. What do you lack in minerals, you make up for in charm. Mine more minerals. Quickly now. You have a new queen. Those hatcheries won't inject themselves. You're engaging the opponent. Evolution complete. God save your gracious queen. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject. Build that fleshy mass of terror somewhere else. Out of minerals. Insufficient Vespine gas. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Queen's ready. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Thought you could get away with skipping. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you. Your Zerg are now extra terrifying. Spawn more overlords. Better, smarter, faster, fighter. Insufficient Vespine. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy. Your army has encountered the end. Your Greek tumors are being Your forces are taking damage. You are fresh out of minerals.
Right.
Insufficient Vespine gas. You're engaging the opponent. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. Mineral field depleted. That unit has mutated into something even more unpleasant. Don't just stand there. Evolution complete. Your forces are taking damage. Idle workers are so untidy. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else. Your forces are taking damage. Massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery! You're engaging the opponent. Do you think that upgrading that swarm of death beasts was wise? You are fresh out of minerals at that pace. You have a new queen. Those hatcheries won't inject themselves. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Out of minerals. Idle work. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you. Do you think that upgrading that swarm of death beasts was wise? Evolution complete. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Mineral field depleted.
Game.
Do you think that upgrading that swarm of death beasts was wise?
Quite a bit.
Evolution complete. God save your gracious queen. Queen's ready. Find a hatchery
Yes.
to inject.
I rally 3 back. Yeah.
Your army has encountered the enemy.
Next pop.
Evolution complete.
And why is it 29 seconds, not 30? 350. Where's pop? 36 second. 7-second difference. Because they pop. 7 seconds.
You have a new queen. Those hatcheries won't inject themselves. Massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery!
Support tech. Aaron is Rota. But my
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject.
I think we putting 1,000. I'm not spending my shit well enough. Pretty fully saturated. I can just spend more. You know, I also think I could have cap myself. What was it?
For twice the Vespine gas value. Alright, that's just a high-quality army against the dregs of Zerg. Max Pax has held on. He held on to that core of his army and his 3 bases. And Dark he neglected the defenses at home. He had nothing at home to defend. Maybe a queen. He's back up to 3 of them, but not for long, as the charge lots will... Oh, my Brenda! I know. The charge lots are chasing down a small group of Roach Hydra. And the army is halfway across the map. An awkward situation as the mothership is leading. Though the zealots are getting so much damage done. Some stalkers were on the other side of the mineral line. 14 more drones dead. Devastating damage as Dark. He's won so many battles, but he's losing the war. Again, MaxPax has managed to almost surgically dismantle the economy as the charge launch sliced through, and somehow he's being chased down by one very brave stalker.
It's like just enough to like position them.
Templar going to be taken out a moment before it could be recharged. The army's still scattered throughout the field. A bit of a hectic scenario. Meanwhile, it lunges out of the time warp. But that army, Immortals, Archons, they're still a Colossus. That Colossus has 29 kills. The mothership is at 8. I'm sure they're scattered throughout, but Dark's still finding damage in multiple bases. He took out another 4th, forces a recall to the 3rd. And again, despite the damage, Dark is now up 60 supply. This is madness. I said that with unconfidence because it feels like MaxPax has been doing exactly what he needed, but now Dark just has a way. He finds a way. He finds a path. Come on, get faster! Why do you guys run so fast? Wait a second, who is this guy? Ah! Dark gonna go for the full surround. MaxPax, the army supplies are still quite close. And with Templar, a mass recall. The mothership brings another chunk of the army, and Dark going for the full base trade. Meanwhile, MaxPax spots it. Huge storms. But there's nothing at the natural, not even a wall. He's going to warp in some of the zealots. How long on recall? Still a full minute. So we're in a full... Well, I was going to say base trade, but it really doesn't feel it, as MaxPax is coming back home to defend. Dark, 129 supply. He's building 2 expansions. MaxPax will clean this army up. Yeah. Does that mean he can just turn it around and go across the map? Dark is playing like he has twice the economy, but he barely has 10 more workers. And I think only because he just took out some more probes. Dark is actually behind on supply. He just keeps throwing away hydras and roaches like lings. It's capped to max. Wow. Huh. Dark just taps out. He realizes he's bleeding out at home and there's no way he survives. Wow. His army jumping off a cliff against MaxPax's efficiency. And he just taps out.
Timing. I keep
Game one
underestimating.
goes to MaxPax.
I keep
The mothership
underestimating
holding it together.
Vipers.
Dark clearly not confident in his ability to defend with the same army. He did not succeed on attack. Maybe a little early, but having less supply than a mothership immortal Templar army with just Roach Hydra, well, that does not bode well. So, Game 2, ley lines. It looked so close right up until it didn't. It feels like, with that sort of composition especially, you're racing against the clock. You have a very limited time. Not very limited, but a limited time until the Protoss army gets too strong. You don't have lurkers. You don't have broodlords. You don't even have upgraded zerglings. So the Roach Hydra has an expiration date. And as soon as they have more supply with a better army, it feels like the army has already expired. And that is why Dark decides, all right, let's just move on. Because he shot his shot. And honestly,
Wait, what's he doing? He's not going
Where
for
you
the
going?
third.
Where's the drone going?
Yeah, where's it going? Just casually have a conversation with Winter.
Well,
but not really. Just
here
saying.
it is. Is he just going to
You
scout?
delay it. If the
Or is he
Protoss
going
is
to
lazy.
expand to both Naturies?
No way. Proxy.
Off we go then.
That's hilarious. Still don't really understand how proxy works.
Dark
the computer doesn't
decides
usually
he's going
try
to
to
take
do a
Max
3D
Pax's base.
fast
This
expand.
is what we're doing here today. And so it begins. A zealot. So
Okay, I can't
there's
learn
a probe on the other side. He sees
anything
that
from
Dark
this.
just started his spawning pool. He's going to see the gas as well. But this means Dark.
Alright, we'll do this one time. I think I'm only gonna go for like one. This is useless. Whatever. That is like a Terran or a Protoss. Funny enough, I did pretty well in the mirror matchup because the mirror matchup tends to stay low tech. Two and enough for my. Yeah. Or. Wait. About what time? Game time? 30 seconds? Roughly 30 seconds game time. There's. Timed action. Which means that.
Mine more minerals, quickly now. Not enough minerals. You're flat broke, mate. Get some more minerals.
Interesting. I think I will get to get.
Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject.
Not that tiny.
Where are the minerals? I was told there would be minerals. No, don't just stand there. Shoot back. Mine more minerals. Quickly now.
Till 6.
God save your gracious. You've evolved the swarm. How forward-thinking of you. Where are the minerals? I was told there would be minerals. Mine more minerals. Quickly now. You're flat broke, mate. Get some more minerals.
No.
Not enough energy. Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject. Your army has encountered the enemy. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here.
It's not perfect.
Try building that monstrosity elsewhere.
So.
Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. You don't have enough gas. Consider expanding. Queen's ready. Find a hatchery to inject. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. You must place that on creep. Build that fleshy massive terror somewhere else. Mutation complete. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it. Out of minerals. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Mineral field depleted. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. Your creep tumors are under attack. Your creep tumors are being destroyed. You spent so long spreading those. Your army has the enemy is jealous of your lovely creep tube. You're engaging the opponent. Those drones have families. You need more energy. Mutation complete. Base is under attack. You're engaging the opponent. The enemy is jealous of your lovely creep tumors. Massacre, bloodbath, you are fresh out of minerals at that base. Your forces are taking damage. Mineral field depleted. Drones have many natural predators. Look, here they come now. Your creep tumors are being destroyed. You spent so long spreading those. Massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery! Your creep tumors are being destroyed. You spent so long spreading those. Those savages are ruining your perfectly spread creep tumors. You have a new queen. Those hatcheries won't inject them directly. It's the fight you've all been waiting for. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Your army has encountered the enemy. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Your Zerg have evolved and started a progressive folk band? Build that fleshy massive terror. Evolution complete. I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it. Mineral field depleted. thought you could get away with skipping the overlords, eh? We must place that on creep. I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it. Queen's ready. Mineral field depleted. You are fresh out of minerals at that base. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy. Your creep tumors are under attack. God save your gracious queen.
Oh.
That unit has mutated into something even more unpleasant. Not enough energy. You've evolved this war. How forward thinking of you. Your base has some uninvited guests. Your forces are taking damage. It's the fight you've all been waiting for. Those explosions you hear, that's your base being flattened. Those drones had families. Let God save your gracious queen. You're engaging the opponent. That unit insufficient Vespene gas. Don't just stand there, shoot back! Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you. You need more energy. Your forces are taking mineral field depleted. You don't have enough gas. Consider expanding. Massacre, bloodbath, carnage, butchery! Mine more minerals, quickly now. That unit has mutated into something even more unpleasant. Don't just stand there, shoot back! Vespene guys are exhausted. It needs them. Your army has encountered the enemy. Vespene gas, you can't build any more units. That's it, you're maxed out. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so unhappy. Mineral field depleted. You're at max supply. Send your army to its death. Your forces are taking damage. You're engaging the opponent. Your forces are taking damage. other guy is attacking you. You can't build any more units. That's it. You're maxed out. You actually reached supply cap. What a glorious achievement. Your forces are taking damage. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you.
Good. I think
The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair. Your army has encountered the enemy. I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it. You're at max supply. Send your army to its death. You're engaging the opponent. Drop everything. Your units are getting killed. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy. Your forces are taking damage. There's just not enough energy to do that right now. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Your army has encountered the enemy. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy. Try building that monstrosity elsewhere. Whoa, whoa! You can't build your horrific biomass here. I remember when this was all minerals. Now look at it. Out of minerals. Idle workers are so untidy.
Sure.
Geyser empty. Time to move to your expansion. You did expand, right? That geyser is done. Your workers have lost their purpose in life. You are fresh out of minerals at that base. Mineral field depleted. Wow, you mined all those minerals already. Look at you. That geyser is fresh out of gas. You are fresh out of minerals at that base. Build that fleshy, massive terror somewhere else.
take your third. Okay.
You have a new queen. Those hatcheries won't inject themselves. Your army has encountered the enemy.
Now they're just.
Queen's ready.
I should already be having extractors back in.
Aggressive folk band?
No way. Not have full saturation. Start producing. There's a larva. Hatchery showed up. That's weird. I had a bunch of active links. My only links.
You need more energy. Have you tried? God save your gracious queen. The other guy is attacking you. That hardly seems fair.
Well, now it comes in pretty well. Did I miss?
Drop everything. Your units are getting killed.
Oh. Hello, mist injection. Hello, mist injection. I don't understand why it does that. Oh, it's not missing.
Queen's ready.
There.
Find a hatchery to inject.
Jump to base. Oh no. Okay.
You're engaging the opponent.
Did I like really miss anything? I'll pause.
20% more terrifying.
Oh.
That Queen's ready. Your
Yeah.
forces are taking damage.
Yeah, that was a missed injection. Oh, there's another missed injection. Damn.
God save your. Try building that monstrosity.
It's good. I missed the injections. That's like more larva, and that's just on that. If I missed it there, probably. Start doing the delay. I can preempt it too. Yeah, I missed one. Well, I missed.
Queen's ready. Find a build that fleshy massive terror somewhere else. Try building that monstrosity. Mutation complete. Try building that monstrosity. Mineral field depleted.
keep you.
Literally can't have anything else but the hatchery. It's just a placeholder, but it's holding a very inconvenient place. So, we'll see how many probes, if any, MaxPax brings down to defend. Fun fact, it's about 7 probes in order to stop the hatchery before it finishes. If you have a zealot, usually it's a zealot and 3 or 4 probes, depending on how quickly you want to kill it. Ideally, you just make it cancel. Because you've already committed to the follow-up, like 2 adepts at a time in this case. Getting some intense deja vu from Dark. Proxy hatching, well, just list off all the Protoss. Not the first time this has happened, and it won't be the last. Well, hopefully. That's it, finish. The queen is on the way. And Zerglings pop out, making things a little awkward. With the queen coming out. Oh, gets on top of it, turns it around. And double shade into the main. Sees the Zerglings. MaxPax on top of everything. Queen going for the creep tumor. And she'll get it. Well, if the adepts don't go for it. So, with her dying breath, manages to get the creep tumor. And it will... Oh, well, that's sad. All right. Well, just like all of us, everything we've ever created will eventually be removed and lost to the sands of time, even lost to the unit's lost tab.
Oh, he's so far behind.
And that is life. Who doesn't play anymore for many reasons, but well, that was well, Dark is in a very awkward spot now, as 22 drones. MaxPax does not have an expansion.
Dark has a better ability to generate income.
The Zerglings get into the main. The Oracle not going to be activated, but there's nothing in the wall until a moment before the Zerglings get back.
Let's see.
So, a very awkward start. Dark now just droning up. He does have 2 hatcheries. He has a couple queens.
Creep is still there.
Oracle recharged, heading out. Will MaxPax send all the adepts? He's going to leave 1 at home, tucked all the way in. The attention to detail, I always appreciate. And the Shady Bunch is heading out. Has to keep some pressure on Dark, so that way he doesn't explode in the drone count with 2 bases to just 1. Especially considering there were already queens completed. The adepts.
5 adepts is going to be tough to deal with.
No other tech on the way yet. We're all just focused on this early mid-game. The Oracles will light up. The Queen's not quite in range. But Susan,
oh my god. This round's so good.
How many times? Well, adepts get into the main, but I think the Zerglings will clean them up with ease. And now
engagement was amazing.
Dark in a pretty comfortable position. Commits a little further to killing a couple more drones. But, well, Dark doesn't have a 3rd base yet. So, where does this leave us? MaxPax starts charge as a robo on the way. So clearly intent on following this up aggressively.
Weird game.
Whereas Dark is just now getting a 3rd. He hasn't added a roach one. He hasn't added a lair. He's clearing up the creep tumors on his own. The Zerglings are trying to push their way past the Stalker, but the Oracle comes back and very much discourages it.
What if the Oracle?
Roach 1 now on the way. Dark's starting to get suspicious. This is one of those games where it's very hard to gauge where the other player is exactly. MaxPax has the advantage there because oracles can just fly in, fly out, slap down the revelation. All Dark knows is that MaxPax hasn't taken a third, which doesn't give him much information in general. He knows he may have to build units, but which units and when is a very big question. Because if you make a bunch of roaches, and for some reason... Wait, did he see the robo? He saw the robo on the way. So that narrows it down a bit. It's unlikely to be like a mass void ray or some sort of Stargate play. But, he's just building some roaches. You can hedge your bets by trying to come up with a timing of your own as well. Of course, that runs the same risk as the previous game, where eventually you get held and don't have the tech either. Archon drop will be the choice from MaxPax. Pretty smart move. It covers both defense and offense quite well, and has a lot of potential to do damage if Dark has overdrawn. What up? Smattering of Protoss here. We got 3 Oracles, a Warp Prism, 2 Archons. Stasis triggered. The Queen's building up. Dark sneaking up towards 60 drones, whereas MaxPax continues building up on his side of things. About to finish the 3rd Nexus as well. Very important in the grand scheme of things, especially considering Dark does not have a 4th. The Queens come back. And the Zerglings? Brenda, you remember when we used to be able to fly like that? Susan? We've been over this so many times, and I wish you would stop bringing it up. It's not gonna happen. Do you know who's in the Balance Council nowadays? They're crazy, okay? I don't know what we're supposed to do. Not only can we not fly, but we cost 25 more minerals. How is this supposed to help? Yeah, but the hatchery, that's nothing! I don't think you need to raise your voice. Who else is going to, Susan? Who else? Sorry, I blacked out for a moment. Well, next thing you know, they're gonna raise the price of injecting eggs. They said they'd lower it. What happened? Sorry, MaxPax defends back at home.
Let's run back. Some pinned at home.
The Roach Ravager coming together, but once Protoss already has plenty of Immortals and Archons, well, Roach Ravager might have the biomass. Yeah, this is another... It's like a circus troupe of Protoss. We have 2 Immortals, the Noah's Ark build, give or take. Multiple Oracles, Warp Prism, 2 Sentries, Archons, Immortals piloted, charge lots in front, more charge lots behind. Breaks down the force field, and Dark gonna try to hold on to his 4th base while simultaneously being chopped up at his natural. The Archons are busting through, and there's a couple stasis wards behind as well.
Results got in.
Corrosive bows scattered throughout. The Archons are just chewing through the roaches. The Immortals blasting. The Archon count is thinning, but they should be able to take out the base. And now the Oracles activate after killing off the last Queen, burning through some of the drones. And yet again, MaxPax finds a successful engagement. Dark is not out of it. He still has the supply. He's got Roach Hydra Zergling, but MaxPax is already working on Storm, which is the one thing he needed in order to actually deal with this army. The big danger is if the Zerg gets a critical mass of Roach Hydra, then no sort of conventional units are going to work out. You need splash damage, and Archons are not really it. But with Storm already completing and Dark knocked back down to 3 bases, with no 4th base in the near future, no Hive, no Lurker Den, no okay, it's easier to list what he had. He has Roach Hydras and Zerglings. Certainly not a good spot for the final boss. Missile attacks level 2 completed. We're getting to the point, probably the best case scenario for Dark, unless this game goes much longer. $120 to 84 army supply in favor of Dark. The Hydra slithering across. They've got their double upgrades. MaxPax has Templar, Immortals, and Archon set up to defend. Amazing storms to start things off. Dark splits back though, mitigates it. Hydra still chewing through, pin cushioning the Zealots. More reinforcements have to come in. Another attack to the north. Stopped by the stasis, and the Immortal count is growing. He hasn't been able to take out, I don't think, any of them this game. Not a single Immortal has died, so truly living up to their names. But one gets caught out. I've ruined it. Taken down. Meanwhile, a couple charge lots back at home will even out any sort of damage Dark is able to do on the probe line.
Sleep.
Taken out with ease.
Oh, come on, Slayer.
So far, Dark unable to make any headway.